everyone, my name is Tiffany and this is my channel, Who's Your Handmade. Thank you so much for stopping by today. In today's video, we're talking about my mid-year review of my 2024 stash challenge. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by today. And if you are already a friend of mine, thank you for your support of my channel, and above all, thank you for your friendship. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. We are talking about stash challenges today. Are you doing one of those this year? Let me know how you're doing down below in the comment section. I do love chatting to you guys about this topic. It is near and dear to my heart, so I would love to see what you're doing in your own stash challenge, how you're doing, and maybe I can be a little bit of an encouragement to you and you can be an encouragement to me as well. I am in a little bit different setting here today. I'm just kind of chilling here at my sewing desk, so the lighting might be a little bit different. Can definitely see more of my sewing room there behind me. Hopefully it's not too distracting, but I just wanted to kind of sit here and chat with you guys today about my stash challenge. I am passionate about it. I've been doing this for 2 years now. This is my second year doing this stash challenge. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just a real quick recap. My husband challenged me to do a stash challenge where I did not buy patterns or fabric for 3 months and really try to focus in on using what I already have here in my stash. And that challenge kind of stuck. So what I do is a 3-to-1 ratio. I will go 3 months with no buying patterns or fabric, and then have 1 month of conscientious buying where I can catch up on some new patterns that I wanted to purchase or get a little bit of fabric. So the game plan for my last buying month, which was April, so it's been a while since I chatted with you guys about my stash challenge, was to only buy as much fabric as I have been able to sew in my most sewing heavy month here this year. And that's been 16 yards. I was able to sew up 16 yards before April in one of those months, January, I believe, January or February. So I kicked out 16 yards in 1 month. So that was my target. I didn't want to go over 16 yards for my buying month. So let's just get into how that buying month went and how I've been doing so far here in my 3 months of no buying. I am in the middle of that right now. It's getting ready to end again here in August will be my buying month. So let's just do a real quick review here of my stash progress. I am going to be talking about the months of April, May, June, and the portion of July that I have already completed here this month. So for total makes for those months, in April I had 10 makes, May was 13 makes, June was 4, and then July, so far I have made 10 things. So that is a grand total of 37 makes for these 4, well, really 3.5 months. Moving on to the total yards that I have used since April, that total is 41.25 yards since April. That's a lot of yardage. I'm very happy with that number. It's very encouraging to see that much yardage go out the door or made into garments that I love and that I'm using. I also like to keep track of the new patterns that I use. I do have a lot of patterns in my stash and I want to be trying out more new patterns, not only those that I love and make a lot. I do want to try some new ones. So since April, I have made 17 new patterns. Our vacation to Florida was really a huge kick up for this new patterns. I bought a lot of new patterns, especially from Peekaboo Patterns, and made a lot of those for our vacation. So that really helped this number. So I have made 17 new patterns. Let's talk about that buying month. So in April, like I said, I was buying. How many new patterns did I add into my stash? I added 17 indie patterns and 10 big 4. So 27 new patterns going into my stash. 27 does seem like a lot, but honestly, I'm not as concerned with accumulating patterns as much as I am with fabric. Yes, I do want to be focusing in on using patterns that I already own, that I haven't ever tried before, but fabric, the sheer quantity and a space that fabric takes up as opposed to patterns is quite drastic. So you definitely feel the presence of all of that fabric more than you feel the presence of patterns, especially PDF patterns that you can just store on your computer. You don't necessarily have to have them in a physical form here in your sewing room. As far as buying yardage during my buying month, I was so very much focused on our vacation that we took in June. All of my buying, almost all of my buying was for that vacation. So the number that I'm going to give you here today is what total went into my stash. I do tend to buy more fabric than I need for a project. That's just the cautious part of me not wanting to run out of fabric. So I did have quite a bit of fabric left over from vacation sewing that's going to go into my stash. And I did buy a couple pieces that were going to go into the stash anyway. So that's how I've come up with a total of 16 yards. Can you guys believe that I hit my number on the dot? Like I said earlier in the video, I only wanted to add 16 yards or less into my stash for the month of April, and boy, did I do that barely. I hit it right on the nail of that 16 yards. I cannot believe that I actually did that, but that's the yardage that went into my stash. So if you look at the year's progress, so for the year, I have sewn up 71¼ yards total from my stash. But if you add those 16 back in, I've actually only sewn up 55¼ yards from my stash. But that is a lot of yardage. 55 yards is a lot coming out of my stash, coming out of my cabinets, out of my cubbies where my fabric is, and it feels really good to be making that progress. So those are the numbers. Those are the cold hard numbers. I like keeping track of the numbers. It's motivating to me. I like to see the progress through the month, especially on my buying month. I really keep track of every single purchase. I write down fabric, I write down the cost, I write down patterns and their cost. Cost is not a huge deal to me, although I do try to keep it within a reasonable budget during my buying month, but it's those totals that I don't want to be adding in too much more to my stash. But overall, I am very happy with my progress. Now, this is a process. This is an evolution of a process. Started out with a challenge, turned into something that I really wanted to challenge myself with doing all year long. And here in this last 3 months of my pause, my buying ban, I have experienced a few new things. I did set aside my buying ban for one trip to a very special store down in Maitland, Florida. We were on vacation. I won't be getting back to that store for a long time probably, so I set aside my buying ban in order to take advantage of doing some shopping at that store. I really feel like this is growth, and even though I'm buying and I am adding patterns and fabric into my stash, I'm doing it so much more conscientiously than I was in the past. In the past, I was going to Joann's every weekend and hitting up the clearance bolts and looking at what was in the last chance fabric section and adding quantities to my stash at an alarming rate. I really am very proud of myself for planning this trip to this special store in Florida, knowing that I'm not going to get there again, and I've conscientiously made the decision to pause my buying ban for that store and then get right back up onto the pause when I get home. I'm not saying that I have solved all of my tendencies, my want to hoard fabric and buy a lot of fabric at one time. Still, I go into Hobby Lobby and I see the fabrics and I still have those thoughts of, oh, I could get that for the stash, or I love this fabric and I would really love to have this in my stash. I do still have those thoughts, but I'm growing. I'm growing and changing slowly so that I know, nope, I've got fabric at home that I need to use first, and I will wait for my buying month when I can do some careful purchase planning there during my buying month. The point that I'm trying to make with all of that chattiness is that your process can evolve. You're going to grow, your mindset is going to change, you're going to be able to handle things that you weren't ready to handle back in the beginning. So that is so encouraging to me. It's encouraging to me to know that I can plan some differences or some changes to my original plan and then get right back into my original schedule, my original process for my 3-to-1 ratio, no buying and then buying. So that is my update for my mid-year review on my stash challenge. Let me know down below in the comment section, like I said, how you're doing if you're doing a stash challenge. Maybe I can be an encouragement to you. Maybe you're feeling a little discouraged, or maybe you're doing great and you're sewing yards and yards or meters and meters out of your stash. I would love to know down below in the comment section. I'm gonna keep going here with my 3-to-1 ratio process. I am looking forward to the month of August for doing a little buying, a little careful buying. So I can't wait to share more about that in the future. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.